So by that way, you'll be able to, be able to summarize all that is in that report and, give insight as to each of them. So it depends on what you're actually doing, because you need to have an objective in mind. But this is just a general, view of that. So we are going to use that as our what's it called? As our example for during the course of this course that this section. Now, so for us to go back now to this section, let me take you to what business data analytics actually mean. Like I said earlier, you've been able to acquire technical skills, which is powerful, is a good skill, but that will only keep you as an analyst who just produces number and analyzes it and send it to someone else that is higher. But that's not your intention. You want to grow, right? You don't want to be the foot soldier, or what they call it. You want to load that part and also be able to influence decision with what you have, with this your technical skills, right? Now, business data analytics is just a specific set of techniques, competencies, right? Like I said, practices applied to perform a continuous exploration, investigation, and visualization of data, business data. Doesn't also end there. Being able to visualize means also you should be able to interpret and communicate that investigation, that visuals, that analytics that you've done on maybe on Excel sheet or maybe on other platform like Tableau or what's it called, Minitab or SAS or SPSS. So for some of those are advanced anyways. You've not gotten there, but I'm sure most of you must have at least seen that. And another thing that I would advise is that even after this course, you have to go further and do more readings on data analytics, right? So that's what business. So business, the desired outcome of a business data analytic initiative is to obtain insight. That is the desired outcome. So with all those analysis you've done, with all those technical skills you've acquired, the end goal is for you to be able to get insights that can lead to improved decision making, better decision making, advanced decision making in a company, in anywhere, in your life, even as an individual, in your decision making as a person. You should be able to now do that. So business data analysis can be applied to investigate a proposed business decision. So for instance, because I want to also make sure that we can relate to these things, so it gets ingrained into you. It's not just knowing it because you need it for work. No, knowing it because you have to be passionate about data. I am very passionate about data analysis. All my life, I read economics, right? And I have gone beyond, advanced level of that. And I specialize solely on data management and using data to make economic decision, business decision, and all that. So that's what I basically do. So because of that, I had to bury myself in data analytics, right? So now with this investigated proposed business decision, you'll be able to take, make a better hypothesis or assumption and get new insight from the data. You'll be able to use, because you are a business data analyst, you'll be able to use that to even advise management on what to do next, or what to do or what not to do going forward, right? Or advice on projects that are available or that are not available, even business idea that are available and not available. You know why consultants make all these consultants that you see, why they make money is because they have data analysts who help them to generate data that they use to advise companies. So you see that they are called business management consultants and all that. Those are the things they do, is data they use. Data drives everything that you do today in business, even in the country as we are today, right? It's just that for some strange reasons, of course, some people are not really interested in data. They just believe in their intuition. They will tell you, oh, they've had experience and the intuition tells them that ABC will work. It doesn't work that way. It has to be evidence-based, right? It has to be evidence-based, means that it has to be something that you are seeing and it shows you clearly that if you go beyond this path, you are going to either succeed or fail. That's the essence of data. And in Ikeja Electric, we have been able to build a data-driven system, a data-driven culture here, where everybody now looks at data before we make a decision, which is why this is a better time for this data analytics school, that everybody is invited to participate. And I'm sure you guys have been doing a good job to even listen. The tutors have also been doing a good job to put this skill and make everyone feel comfortable and learn as much as they can learn from the section. Right. So now there are types of business data. And please, if I'm fast, right, let me know through the chat, because I'm also looking at if I'm too fast, like you for you, kindly let me know by saying, okay, I'm fast or so, but I'm trying to make sure I communicate as clearly as possible and as so you'll be able to understand it, because it's not just listening to the section. I also want you to understand it. Now, there are types of business data analytics, right? So this is what I go back to 2 and 4. So whatever I'm saying, I'll go back to 2 and 4. So I will tell you how it applies. Now, we have 4 types of business data analytics. We have the descriptive analytics, we have the diagnostic analytics, we have the predictive analytics, and we have the prescriptive analytics. Now, for the descriptive analytics, this is where you just want to use, for the descriptives, right? Descriptive, this is where you just want to use data to explain trends, to explain pattern, to explain relationship, to explain what happened, what is happening currently. You are just trying to tell us what, some people look at number, they get confused, they don't understand what it means, but you are the god of numbers, right? You are the doctor. So you are now explaining to them what the number means. You're just describing. It's the simplest part of analytics, right? Because what you are doing is you get this number, because you have this technical skill that you've acquired, you'll be able to put it on pivot table. That's 1 and 4. You'll be able to put it on pivot table. We are now describing to us, we don't know about data. We are just looking, and we don't know anything about numbers. Some of us, we get scared of numbers when it comes to calculation and all that. Some people are not comfortable. So because you are the king now, a data king, you are not describing to us to say, okay, based on this monthly billing report, right? I can see here that, some UTs are not billing properly. They are billing below target. Okay, compared to last month, this particular UT failed or performed low or performed better. You're just describing exactly what is on the board there. Some people don't know. They might be looking at the number. They are seeing it as number, but they don't understand they can't interpret it or communicate. So you, as a data analyst, one of the skills also, one of the soft skills you must have is communication skill. You should be able to explain and tell data story. I want you to, after this class, to go and read about data storytelling. Data storytelling is a very good thing to have. You should be able to tell data story and be able to explain. This descriptive skill, the analytical aspect, will help you tell that story and it will flow, because what you are going to tell whoever is listening to you or whoever doesn't know is that you're just describing to the person the current happenings today. It's like you telling someone about Nigeria today, what it is today, not yesterday, not in future. You're just saying what is happening now based on, existing data that you have. You've looked at, I give you an instance, dollar has been on an increase and all that. Everybody just felt, oh, it's dollar now. Of course, our economy is bad. We are, the leadership is so terrible. Buhari can be so this and that. That's layman's idea, right? But because you're a data person, you're not going to talk like that. I don't expect you as a data professional to talk like that. You're going to tell that person that is saying that this is what happened. ABC, the demand and supply of it, or not even going too far to demand and supply. You go and look at the trend of that data, of that dollar increase. How has it been so far? You're going to now describe to the person that is saying, oh, they feel the Nigeria is just so bad, the economy is terrible, is this and that. You are now going to explain to the person, okay, this is what is going, this is why you are seeing this increase. And this is why it might even increase further than what it is now. So don't put it completely on the leaders even though they took part of it, but there's a reason behind that, this current trend. So you'll be able to describe it, right? That's Nigeria economy. So let's move aside. We are in Ikeja Electric. So let's focus on Ikeja Electric. So I'm looking at 2 and 4 now. You're able to describe the UT that perform. You're able to describe the business unit that perform low or less. You'll be able to communicate the DT that is doing well, the DT that is not doing well. You're comparing notes to say, oh, based on last month, or this one did well, but because TCN had issue, we couldn't perform well. The energy dropped, the energy increased. That is descriptive, right? We are talking about current happening. So to me, I say, oh, some people specialize in that because that is the easiest part of analytics. Now, the next one, where you can now start showing your skill, that, or telling somebody that I've gone beyond ABC as a data analyst. I'm now an intermediate person, right? Is when you should be able to predict, be able to do predictive analytics. Sorry. So predictive analytics is used to make predictions about future, and you must be near correct if you are good. And I'll tell you how. You must be near correct to predict, which is why you see, if you look at, I don't know if most of you subscribe to magazines that talk about economy, global economy, GDP, and all that. You will see how they'll be able to predict what will happen in 2025, 2024, and all that. That's because you must have gotten some certain scale. How do you do that prediction? Now, you are going to now look at your current, which is why I say it's very important that you understand the current, right? Now look at the past and see what the trend has always been for 5, 6, 7 years. When you look at that past, you should be able to now say, based on this past, there's a percentage increase that is consistent, because you'll be able to identify the trend and the pattern, right? You'll be saying, this is a consistent, it's been 2-3% increase over a year. And during this time of the year, it's always up or down. And that is because there's this season, there's that season. You'll be able to join all the dots together and tell us what will happen in 2023 based on that analysis. You can't just assume or throw numbers there. Oh, I feel that by 2023, I should be here. You know how we in Nigeria, we believe that the future is so, we don't really know anything can happen, right? It could be, we call it luck. Advanced countries, they don't believe in luck. They don't believe in, which is more reasons why they don't also believe in, like say maybe a God or something, right? That's because they feel numbers direct them. They believe it's on data. What is the data saying? If you are abroad right now, you should be able to tell where your life will end up in 20 years or 10 years based on what you are doing currently and what you've done in the past. I should be able to tell, which is why when you put in stuff on the system and you are using a particular website like Google and all that, they'll be able to tell what based on what you've been using and the kind of site you've been visiting and the kind of activities you'll be doing online. It will predict for you. It's an AI thing that will predict what you are likely to do in like 2 months' time based on that. And if you notice, it will be true because they have seen your pattern, your trend, your historical. You'll be able to use it to predict. So that is how even you as a data analyst will be able to predict. So usually, in some cases, in some, it might not be exact, but it can never be plus or minus some variance. It's a plus or minus thing, but it's close to what you predicted. So they might say plus or minus, it will be this, but it's close. It can never be wide apart. There is no miracle there, except something that happens that is unpredicted, like maybe something terribly happened. So I give you an instance of that terrible situation that you probably might not, even though we know about it, but we didn't believe it to happen. So I give you an instance. Like I tell you, I will refer you to, I will keep referring it to Ikeja Electric, right? Now, Ikeja Electric, if you were around at the strategy section, we predicted using numbers that we could do 60-42 energy, right? That was the prediction. It was based on numbers. It was based on the fact that we've looked at our capacity, we've looked at our feeder capacity, we've looked at our customers and the new projects we are going to put on board. We have calculated that there is no way we will not meet this energy based on all things being equal, that we are going to do that. That's prediction for data, right? and be able to see that, okay, but guess what took us by surprise? Even though we knew, it's not even a surprise for people that are data analysts that were here last year. There is not a surprise because we knew. It's just that we decided to turn a blind eye to it, right? And just flow with what it is that we have predicted based on the previous happenings, right? So we did that, say we're going to do that energy. What happened was that in February, something happened. TCN started having maintenance issues. We had gas shortage. We had so many issues from the TCN and the Genco. We could not generate that energy anymore. It's not as if our asset was not ready. We could not generate it. It's unpredicted. We didn't predict that will happen like that, and it will cost us so much. Now it's affecting our energy numbers. We cannot even meet up to half of what we projected. So in that kind of situation, it's not as if you are a bad analyst that you don't predict right. It's just because you ignored some qualitative assumptions that could affect. You didn't factor it into your prediction. That's another part of it. You have to factor some other qualitative issues that might impact your numbers. So, but we knew, but we said, okay, now it might not really affect it. They might change their mind. This is Nigeria, government policies are not stable. It could be yes or no, and nobody knows, but let's just walk with the flow and be optimistic. So that optimism is what we took. However, we are working towards, making sure we cover that number. We still believe we might achieve it, right? But what the reality is now, the descriptive analytics expert is telling to me now that, Oga, you might not. I'm telling you, currently, for the past 4 months, we've missed out. We've not been able to meet our energy target. This is the trend. And it's likely that in the next 3 months, we are still going to experience it because these guys are still working on this thing. They are still shutting down. They're not giving us a lot of supply to energy to peak. And our customers are complaining. This is what our revenue will be. And this is how it's going to be now, because the reality is it is happening. We didn't factor that last year, right? So that's where the predictive will now have a little issues. But aside that, predictive is still predictive. We should be able to predict correctly what would happen, plus or minus a mini variance. That's predictive analysis. I don't know if we get that part. I'm just giving all these, examples so it will sink. I don't want to use English on this. I want to simplify it as much as possible so that even a basic person who doesn't know anything about data will understand what I mean by predictive analysis. That's why I'm simplifying it like this. If it was another class, I'll probably use a different set of scenarios, a different kind of description, or a different kind of example to give them maybe a higher view of what that means. How you can even use predictive to do a lot of things in as a data person, right? Now, that's the second one. So the third type of analytics that you should know or know how to do is diagnostic analytics, where this one is also simple, but it's not as simple because you need to understand how that industry or how that business work. You are like a doctor who has a patient. Patient doesn't even understand what is happening to them, but you will not start asking questions. Do you sleep well at night? You have headache? You do that? You do this. Based on all those inputs, you will now be able to make a logical reason and say, okay, and be able to diagnose the person and provide solution, right? So that's how it is for a data analyst in professional, because you'll be able to diagnose, anything data. You look at the data and be able to say, this is our problem. You'll be able to identify the problem based on data. That's what we call evidence-based problem. You are not just saying it, the data is saying it. You'll be talking as an objective person. It's not me. This is what the data is saying, right? It's called diagnostic. You are diagnosing the situation. You are saying this is why it happened. We are not making money today as a KG Electric because of A, B, C, D. You should be able to put a tie to it. There's a basic one that everybody knows, but there's some in-depth that you as a data analyst should know. The basic one that everybody knows today is that, oh, we are not making money because TCN is not supplying us energy. That's all everybody's saying, right? You as a data analyst, you should be more informed, knowing that it's not just that. is beyond that. There's a lot of other variables data is saying we are not doing right. Aside the TCN issue, there are things that we probably are not doing that we need to change to start closing that gap. So you as a data analyst should be able to diagnose that and advise accordingly, right? So that's diagnostic analytics, be able to know what happened and what will be the solution. Now, after the diagnostic analytics, the next one, the fourth one, which is very rare, they say if you know this one too, is like you are gifted as a person, right? It's prescriptive. Here, you should be able to prescribe drugs for the business. That's where I say enabling change. Enabling change. And how will you enable that change? Is by doing data analytics to be able to prescribe to the business to say, okay, I have identified what the possible problems are, and I've seen all the possible factors, right? These are my suggestions and my recommendation based on what I know today as a company. I've looked at our past history, I've looked at our present situation, I've looked at the issue, what the problem is. This is where what we should do. You now start listing A, B, C, D. Now, remember, for you to be able to do an effective descriptive analysis, it should be that you even have business knowledge. That's another skill as a business analyst you should have. I told you about communication skill, right? The software. You should have business knowledge of that industry. You cannot, everybody might be a data analyst, but they might not have business knowledge. As an analyst, I can analyze any company's data today. But if I don't know how that business operates, the kind of regulatory regulations they have, the kind of business customers they even have, I might not be able to provide solution for them. Even though I'm an analyst, I'm a pro analyst, I might not be able to provide solution. I could just be telling them numbers that they are even seeing. They saw that yes, billing efficiency is 80%. What does that mean? What does that 80% mean? How will I make it 100%? What is the solution to make it 100%? I should have business knowledge. Like now, like I have business knowledge of power, I have business knowledge of telecom, I have business knowledge of banking. That's because I've had experience in these industries, right? I should be able to now explain to say, okay, this is why you are doing 70%. And I'm suggesting that you start doing A, B, C, starting from human resources to checking your assets, to checking the theft, customers that are stealing energy, providing solution on how to make sure that you cope those theft and check those customers. You will now start suggesting those things as a data person. Those are the things that make you a professional business data analyst. Right. So these are the 4 types of business analysts. But some people are good with like 1 or 2. Some people are good with all of them. But if you want to be a professional, you should be able to do this 4 very well. Aside the technical skill, remember that technical skill is also important, because even if you come for a job interview and all that, they will even ask you, what can you do? What data analytics tool can you use today? What data analytics platform can you use today? What programming language do you know today or can write today? What what's it called? What code or what platform have you used to do analysis before? And what kind of solution have you been able to provide from your past experience and all? Those are the kind of questions they will ask you. If you don't give good answers to this, you are not an advanced data analyst. You probably say, okay, I'm just a junior data analyst. All I do is to gather number, do pivot table, mine data, do pivot table, do Power BI, and extract data using my SQL to get the numbers out and update, delete, insert, find, and all those things. Yes, they was okay. That's the basic one he knows, and he's a junior analyst. Okay, fine. You'll be in a team, right? And in that team, you have every different levels depending on their experience and their skills. So these 4, you should know how to make use of them. Now, the next one we'll look at what are the importance. I've stylishly even told you guys what the importance of business data analytics are. I've done I've somehow ship it in, but let me just even explain it further so you understand why you are not just doing this training to know how to do Power BI or how to do SQL, right? Select, star, find, insert, update, this and that. No, you're not doing that for that. You are doing it because it has a higher value for the business, higher value for yourself, higher value for if you find yourself in any other place in future, right? Now, as a data person, which is why you see all these companies that are succeeding today, Meta, Amazon, IBM, all those, you see that they are big with data because it does what? Number one is that even IE, it enhances customer experience. Business data analysts can help companies make a better and informed decision by it will help you have a holistic, grounded insight about your customer journey. Your customer, you should be able to even know who the type of customers you have, what they do, what kind of product they subscribe to, their behavior, their pattern. Know the ones that even steal, the ones that enjoy free ride, steal our lights and enjoy free riding. You know the ones that pay every month. These ones, whether you do cash drive or not, they pay. You know the ones that they don't pay, they pay every other month. You know the ones that they don't even like to pay at all. They see our service as a government charity. They don't want to pay. You have to bring ladder to take that money. You will see those customers. So you'll be able to now tailor your strategy to those different customers, and those customers will have enhanced experience. Because what you will now do now, the ones that are paying regularly, you want to design something that will motivate them to pay more. The ones that are not paying, you want to design something that will compel them to pay. At the end of the day, they will have a good experience, even enjoy your services better. It's data that will give you this insight. Do not judge a book by its cover. Don't think that, oh, because people are living in Magodo, they are rich, they will pay bill. It's a lie. Data said it's a lie. Let me not say something here on this platform because I don't know who is there, but what I mean is that data is the reality. It will show you that Magodo, yes, there might be rich customers there, but they are all thieves. Oh, no, not all thieves per se, but percentage of them, right? Don't quote me, this is within us. But they are stealing our energy in that estate. This is an estate worth billions of naira, right? But data will tell you that is not true. That these guys don't even want to pay that your 5,000 naira. They don't want to pay your they don't want to pay. They want that, and they even have starting from when they, in fact, building that house alone, they've laid the wire down so that you won't even have a trace of how they even got connected, right? So they have, in fact, they started stealing even before they built that property. Right? So they bypass, they do all sorts, a larger percentage of them, yes, it's true, I did that. A large percentage of them do a lot of bypass still, and you will be wondering how, because these people have the resources. Guess what? The guys in Bariga, low income earners, even pay more. They don't even steal. But to you, you would think those ones should steal. They should steal your energy because of their income. But data will prove you wrong and say, no, look at it again. Yes, Chioma said even in Lhasa community, yes, they pay quite well. Yes, but these are people that can't even look at the houses. You even pity for them when you're giving them their bill, that they cannot even pay. But they will pay. They won't even steal your energy. You will look at the data, you see that they are making effort. Every month they keep money aside to pay. It's data that will tell you that. But if you are using your intuition and anybody tells you anything, you say, oh no, my God, they will pay. Now, of course, do any project, they will recover it. It's a lie. Can't put a project there, it's dead. In fact, for me, if I were the business owner, I wouldn't install any meter in that Magodo because they use it as a means of taking our energy. Meanwhile, if you're not a data person, of course, you will say to me, Magodo, they are rich men. How much is 10,000? How much is 20,000? How much is, they will pay it. In short, they will pay, or the one person can even donate and pay for the whole estate. That's what you would say, but no, don't judge that. Data will tell you, no, the UT there, the Magodo, ask them, I don't think they've ever billed more than 75%. And these are people that get almost, or 80%. And these are people that get almost 24 hours. So people that we are considering that they are high-end customers, high-earning customers, our top customers who have the resources, but we don't even build that. A lot of stealing goes there. So all these things are the things that data would direct you. So if you are able to understand your data, you enhance the experience, you provide strategy that will even stop them from stealing. You think of what to do, how to do proper enumeration, how to go to these houses, how to identify these customers. You can even tell by pattern of how they even, it's just that we are not even that granular, and sometimes we need software, because right now we are still doing manual. We are working towards getting a good software, right? That a software that will be able to tell us the customers that are not consistent in their payment and show us a glimpse of how they steal, how they come in January and pay maybe 40,000 naira and not pay again till June. Meanwhile, they are taking 22 hours every day. They will pay 40,000 in bulk. You think, oh, this man pays a lot. No, he did that because he knows that that 40,000 will last for him till July. And he's consuming with 20 ACs to 10 rooms and all. So data will tell you that, no, there's something wrong here. Let's go and let's spotlight this and check it. You send your guys there to go and check that house. There's something wrong. It's data that will give you that information. As of today, we don't have a software. It's not like advanced country, like, abroad, where you dare not try it. You don't even have to wait for this thing. The thing will beep immediately. They will disconnect you from their end there and say, as you are joining, as you are trying to even remove the switch or do whatever manipulation you want to do, they're already getting the signal there, and they will come for you. And there are penalties for that, right? So, but here we are still, we will get there. But what we can use for now is data to check this. It also helps us improve efficiency. Data helps us improve efficiency in everything. Look at it from different perspectives. Look at it even from your individual self. Data helps you to improve your efficiency. If you don't have record of yourself, that's why they say know thyself. If you don't have record of yourself, you will not move as much. You will not achieve as much, because it's data that will be the enabler for you to even do better. Do things better every day and keep improving, because you are looking at all you've been doing and you're saying, if I do this, I get better. If I do that, I get better. That's what data does. So in the company, the same thing too. It helps us here in general to be more efficient, operation-wise and otherwise, right? Now, reduce employee turnover. Someone will say, how does it do that? Yes, data helps to reduce employee turnover. Like you find, of course, like I said, I'm going to be relating it to things that are happening now, so that you can ingrain, you can get it, you can actually, it can sink into everyone's head. Presently, we're having a mini surge, right? And it's not surge per se, kind of people are leaving somehow. And that's number one, not just because it's KJ Electric, we are doing well. Don't take it. The economy in general is not so good, right? And people are living for their abroad. And you wonder why. How does this happen? Is it because the economy has always been bad, but there's something happened recently between 2020 to 2020, between 2019 to date. Something has been happening and it's getting worse, which is why you see this increase in what's it called? People resigning, and it's not just because of the company. So it's data that will tell you this. And for the company, to people that have lived from the company to another company, you will look at data, it will tell you that one of the reasons why this person left is because ABC wasn't done and the person was sad all through and the person has been looking for a better opportunity. It's not as if I can bet you anytime is a good place to work. But some people would say to you, they also need maybe finance and all that. They are not meeting up to their financial objective for the year and all that, and they need a higher position. And maybe where they are presently, they don't see themselves moving beyond that, right? Now, what we use data to do here is to look at who are those staff that might likely, want to move because of ABC visits, right? And solution will start coming. What can we do? Can we move them around? Can we make them happy? Can we do that? Can we do that? It's data that will give us that insight. Without data, you won't know that insight. You won't have it. Right? So the fourth one is measure accomplishment. Like I said earlier, of course, data enables us to measure what we've even achieved so far. You see monthly MPR, quarterly MPR, all those sections that we have. It's not because we enjoy having the section. It's because we need to measure to understand where we are going, if we are even on track. If you don't have data, you cannot measure anything. And what is not measured is not done. If we don't measure performance today, I can bet you we all will not even do anything. We'll just sit down and probably come to work, receive salary, and go, because you are not measured against anything. You don't have targets. You don't have any data that shows what you are doing. So how do I track you? How do I know you are efficient? How do I know you are a performer? So that way, everybody's even just relaxed. The company is also relaxed, right? But they will see it in their pocket though, because the bank will be, the account will be red. So data will enable us measure that accumulation. It will enable us compare notes. It will enable us compare what are we doing, where are we supposed to be, and where are we now. Actual against targets. Objective. Look at our objective for the year. Are we accomplishing any of them? Which one have we done? All the projects that we set aside to achieve, have we done it? Why? Why haven't we done it? What are the reasons? What are we going to do in the next 6 months now to make sure they are done? It helps us track and monitor. That's what data does. It optimizes operation, the fifth one. Optimizes operation. I've said that over and over again. It optimizes operation. It identifies market. It even enables us know our position in this country. As Ikeja, are we the leading disco? Are we the leading distributor? It enables us to even understand the market trend of the energy industry. Who are these new guys called IPP? What are they doing? How are they going to impact us? Are they our competitors? Why are people subscribing to them these days? Who are they? You'll be able to understand those trends. It's data that enables you to understand the trend. Tackle problem. As a data analyst, if you don't know how to tackle problem, you have to go back and start learning that, because that is your main purpose. Anybody that hires you today hires you to come and solve one problem using data initiatives. So you should be a problem. In short, your nickname should be a solutionist, right? In the middle, because you are the epitome of solution. Everybody should come to you to solve one problem or the other as a business data analyst. You must. That's why you see that anybody that's in analytical units or department, people always go to them, not because they are friendly or they are too nice. It's because people come to seek for assistance for one data or the other, so that they can take decision, or so that the data person can give them insight as to what to do next or what they think about it, so that they can also make better decisions and sound intelligent at least, right? But as a data person, you are a solutionist. You should be solution oriented. That is your main key point. If you are talking to anybody, you are a solution person. You are meant to provide solution, because you have you are more informed than any other person, because you know with data that you'll be able to see ahead, see what has happened before, what will happen in future, what is happening now. So you're like a mini god, right? That's why data analysis is a good profession, and it's in short, 20th century from when to date, it's been one of the top paying or top career that people venture into now. Business analysis, data engineering, data science. We have a lot of branches you can specialize in, right? And all these people provide solution. You can be a data analyst because you just want to do basic. You can be data engineer because you want to even go beyond just providing that. You want to start organizing that data, putting structures to it, posting them on software, creating software, become a scientist, a data scientist that will know how to, extract, mine and load into the system, know how to construct data, make a good structure, know the kind of solution you can provide or advise a company to have because of the kind of business they do. All these things, a solution person. So they have different, I'm sure they've taken you on that before, like different kinds of data specialists, kind of, right? Now, the eighth one is, of course, accelerate through uncertainty. Uncertainty that happens as a data person, you should be able to, provide alternatives, and be able to even see, as I told you, predict to tell how you can also be able to, as a data analyst, you should even work well as a risk person, risk analyst, because with data, you'll be able to do risk, manage uncertainty, mitigate any kind of future uncertainty that will happen to the company. As a data analyst, you'll be able to see ahead of anybody, right? So these are the importance, can't be overemphasized. Benefit of using benefits of using business data analytics for making decisions. Now, of course, I've explained this ones. This is just maybe a repetition, but in any ways, okay, let me just go through some of the key highlights that I feel is necessary. Now, I've talked about track success. I've talked about having a bigger impact. I've talked about accurate predictions, predictive analysis. I've talked about it. I've talked about, how of course, okay, let's talk about new business opportunities with data. As a business data analyst, you'll be able to actually see opportunities for the business, right? So what that implies is that as you are mining data, as you're doing all the analysis, you will now be seeing the loopholes, the gap, where we can take advantage of the kind of market we can start doing. Like someone was just looking at data and now said, you know what? Now that TCN is doing this thing, can't we? There's a solution that came up. And that's because the person has been mining data, the person has been looking at numbers. The person suggested that, is there no way we can own some estate? Like since we are doing bilateral, we are offering bilateral services to this estate, we can also do this IPP. You know why? If TCN is not supplying this, we can have our own generator, a mini, the generator and supply this estate the hours and charge them more. It's a business opportunity. Instead of the IPP guys coming to take advantage of this estate, we can be giving these guys 24 hours. So what happens is that we supply them with the grid, and the many hours that we couldn't supply from the grid, maybe due to TCN issue, we can use generator and generate the energy for them, but they will pay heavily for that one because it's a different charge. It's a business. That way we are optimizing. We are optimizing both ways. It's a suggestion, and that's because the person has actually been looking at things and trying to think of what next, what can we do to make sure we meet our energy targets beyond what TCN is doing today. So different solutions are coming. So it will help us identify, new business opportunities, new business venture and all that, right? So those are the benefits of, business data analytics. So now, there are tips to enhance decision-making strategy. And I will give us like 3 or 4 tips, right? And now that you understand the importance of data-centric decision-making, data-centric decision, here are practical tips and takeaway for a better data decision-making in business. Number 1 is guard against your biases. Everyone is biased because you want to take a decision based on what favors you, right? Being aware of that. Now, using data, data will help guide against that bias. So you be as objective as possible. You are not saying it based on the fact that it's going to benefit you in your own. You're saying because this is what will have impact as a whole in the company. So decision-making and enhanced decision-making using data, evidence-based decision-making will guard against that biases. Now, the second one is to define objectives and gather right data. Yeah. So the other tip is to define before you make that a better decision. It's not just looking at numbers. It's also having a problem at hand. So for any analysis you are doing today, you must have an objective. You must have a direction of what you want to do. So for an instance, you can't come to me now and say, please give me data on feeder. I want to have feeder reports. I won't give it to you. I will ask you, what exactly do you want to do with it? You should be able to have that objective. Or what problem are you trying to solve? Because I could give you that data, you can misinterpret it. I have done it my own way because I'm probably a advanced data analyst who has gone and done all manner of feeder analysis or all manner of data analysis on a particular report. And if I give it to you, you might misinterpret it if you don't have a clear-cut objective or a clear problem you are trying to solve. So what I would ask you is, what is your objective? What do you want that report for? So you would not say to me, you know what? We are trying to upgrade a feeder. That feeder name is something, ABC. And we don't have data to back it up. We need to understand, or we need to know if it's a viable feeder, if it's worth investing on. They want us to do cost benefit analysis on it. So I need to know the BE, the CE, the what, the order. I say, okay, fantastic. I, as a data person, will now go back and delete some stuff out of that report that I have done and give you what you really need, so that when you are doing that analysis, you'll be based on that feeder you are actually focused on. So because you have an objective, so you wouldn't misinterpret it, or you wouldn't take a wrong decision, you won't gather the wrong data. You will gather the right data and make the right decision, right? So you need to have a question before you pick any data, before you you subscribe or you want to mine anything. Have an objective about what do I want to achieve with this thing. So that way you have a clear perspective as to what you want to do, and the data you see would direct you accordingly, and you will be more informed, right? So another thing to do is to find trends and patterns. Always look at trends and patterns in data. You will always connect the dots. Look at 1 year report. Look at 5 months report. You will always connect the dots with the trend. Look at 3 years report, 4 years ago. You can tell what the KJ Electric will do in 2025. If you see that. Now, presenting your data in a meaningful way too helps to enhance decision making. If you present your data in a meaningful way, such that if you are doing your visuals, it's not about doing colors, doing all the paintings, making it look very grand, making it look very, wow, this is beautiful. Because, you know, the system now helps us to have all shades of color, right? And you do a fantastic dashboard. It's looking up your button. There's nothing to write home about it. It's just colors and designs and smart icons that you use there. You have to present it in a way that it tells a story. It shows even a layman that this is what our picture is like. This is our performance. This is our dashboard. This is a snapshot of what Ikeja Electric is today. That way, we'll be able to make a better decision. Set a measurable goals too for decision making. Of course, that's why we do target. You set a measurable goals. Now, continue to improve your data and make data a culture. So like now in Ikeja Electric, what I know today that we've been able to achieve, that even if someone like me, if you leave Ikeja to another place in future, I would say we have seen the path Ikeja Electric has taken towards being a data-driven company. So the data culture is embedded in us now. Everybody talks about numbers. I don't think even the least person, who is the least person in this company, even drivers know the numbers today. If you ask any, I'm trying to look at the least person. Who is the least person in this company now? The lowest of the low. Knows our ATC and C. Knows that we are pursuing ATC and C, we are pursuing CE, we are pursuing, they will even tell you the target for the year, what we are supposed to be doing. That is what we want. That everybody should know that. So we have that data-driven culture in the system. So all this will help us, enhance our decision making if we have data well-mined, prepared, and tailored towards a particular issue. Or even if you want to tell a general story of the company, it's the way we mine it and mining the right data to tell this story that matters. That will enhance our decision making. Right. So, okay, so I'm just going to take us through. I hope I'm making sense. Am I making sense at all? Or I'm just speaking grammar. Am I? Let me know on the chat. Do you think I'm making sense? Like the way I'm taking it, because I don't want to take this class to just be speaking the English. I want you to understand it, get that ingrained. Like I want it to be like part and parcel of you, that you can easily, you don't need to look at anything. You'll be able to tell stories about data. Tell what your BU is doing today. You can even tell your BM, Oga, what I'm looking at there, we cannot do more than 80% if we continue at this rate. We are going down if we don't do A, B, C, D. You should be able to say that confidently, even though you're not a data, presently you're not working as a data analyst or you're not a business analyst. You should be able to even tell whoever it is and say, don't just, when people are talking about stuff, even in the country or anywhere in the world, anywhere you find yourself, let me tell you what makes you smart. Let me also tell you, for those of you that want to be data professional, right? Like me, want to be a data professional. One thing you should put yourself into is making sure that whatever you are saying is backed up. Do research, check data, use it to talk. You will sound more intelligent than any other person just talking. People, okay, let me bring politics a little, just small. Don't mind me. I'm just going to distract you. People are just talking about how they think the contestants, Atiku, Peter Obi, and other who will win. Everybody's predicting based on what we are seeing on social media, based on what we are seeing on how youths are reacting. But an intelligent analyst would tell you, with what I have seen, with the pattern of behavior, with the data I've seen, right from NKO and all that, there are certain things that happen when these things happen. Social media is not election day. You have to, if you want to do something, you have to start from the grassroots up to the top. The people that are I'm just digressing a bit just to make sure we sink in, right? So don't mind this narrative I'm giving. Now everybody's shouting, oh, Peter Obi, we have to, at the rate is going, he might likely win. Don't be shocked. What will happen? Which of course I'm optimistic. That doesn't mean that I'm just trying to lay the cards out there. I'm optimistic that Nigerians will do better now. So that's the optimism. But following the trend, following past record, following data patterns in this country, it tells me strongly that he might not stand the chance. Forget the social media race. So forget, because there are people who are into politics. Politics is their next life. They have understand the behavior of the country. They know how to influence. They don't shout. You will see it that day. They will be declared as the president or as the governor. You will be so shocked. Despite all this campaign for obedience, for not obedience, for this one, it will shock you, right? That it never happened. But if Nigerians, like data analysts like you, should come up and say, okay, you know what? This part that we are seeing now that the youths are clamoring for, let's look at how we make sure that it translates into the main thing on the D-Day by doing what? Making sure that all those youths shouting and clamoring, that they all have their PVC and they will come out. It's not as if that day they will go and sit down in their house watching television, shouting, hey, obedience in their house. They won't come out and vote. The ones that are not shouting, that day you will see 16 years, 15 years, 12 years, they'll be in the queue voting massively for whoever it is that has convinced them with a bag of rice. Those are things people don't look at. But that's, by the way, that's not what we are talking about. Just giving you analysis from another perspective, just in case. But you should be able to discuss objectively based on data, pattern, relations, connection, and what you have seen in the past and how it builds up. History is very important. That's why people that read history, sometimes I feel in this country, they are not really recognized. Those guys are powerful, but they don't use it. History is very important. So even you as a data person, you need to go and check historical data to be able to predict what will happen next. Okay? So that's it. So now here we are just looking at the list of core data that we use in Ikeja Electric. Of course, we have the energy data, we make use of it, collection data, revenue data, operation data, customer complaint data, project data, there are more. These are all the data we use to make decisions today in this company. So it depends on the unit you are in or the department you're in. Some of us make use of all of this to come up with decisions. Some of us make use of all this that to even decide which target we will set and what we are supposed to be doing and what we should do for the rest of the year. These are core data in Ikeja Electric today. And there are different, you can get it from CIS, you can get it from, of course, billing has their own, that has all the customer record. We have different platforms of data in Ikeja Electric. But what we are also trying to do is to make sure that we sync all this platform of data into one spot. And that's where the EDW will soon come. We are working towards that. The EDW, when it comes, it will warehouse everything that we have in different platforms of data. That way, you can log into one spot and check whatever you want to check, do all manner of analytics and make a better decision in one spot. I'm sure too, we are going to get a software that will intelligently help us to filter and speak. All we need to do as data person is to now interpret, because the system may not interpret for us. You should be able to interpret it better, right? So that is actually all I have for today. My class is not as long because it can't be boring. You can't be sleeping when I'm teaching, right? I want you to just understand the whole thing. This is like a summary of all you've done, and this is the bottom line of what you are doing as a data person. The bottom line is that for all your endeavors towards making sure you get all the certification in data analytics, or get all the knowledge in data analytics, or all the insight in data analytics, the bottom line is that you should be able to do an analysis that will add value to the company's bottom line. That is your sole objective. You should be able to get all sort of skills, all manner of technical or other, but use it to make change, to enable change, influence decision in your own small space. You should be able to influence decision, even in your own personal life. You can tell right now, some of us can predict what our future will be in 2 years by some indices, looking at the past things we are doing and looking at what we are even doing today to enhance ourselves. You can tell what you'll be next year somehow, right? So data enables you to do that. Data will enable you influence and even communicate more intelligently anywhere you are, to get involved in any discourse, in any public conversation. You should be able to talk, and when you open your mouth to talk, it comes out smart because you've done your research. That's why another skill we need to acquire is the research. You have a topic, look at data, be telling people the numbers. 10% of these people are like this, 20% are like that, 40% is like this. So therefore, if you do this 10, 20, 40, you realize that it cannot work with the balance. So you should be able to give those kind of connection, be able to talk in that line, in that perspective. That is what you should be doing as a data person, right? So that's basically all I can do. I think I still have time though for questions, right? So you can ask me questions. Then another thing I also want to emphasize here is that we might not, data is very vast. Data profession is vast. So choose your battle according to your capacity, but also stretch yourself. You can decide to be just an ordinary data analyst. You can decide to be a data engineer. You can decide to be a data scientist who has all the skills somehow. You can even decide to be a data architect, your specialty. You can also be a business intelligence person. Those are different perspectives of data, but they all use data in one way, just that some use it better than the other. And some are the main people that you have to resort to before you even succeed. So you have to now look at, where will I specialize? That is if you want to go beyond this general class, because I feel this is a general class. You can now specialize in one of these aspects to be ground in it, so that you'll be a stakeholder or have the opportunity to be a professional, an expert, a subject matter expert in that particular field. All right. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I can take any question if you can. All right. So Ada, is there any question for me? You can put it on the chat if you want. If you want to, I don't know if Ada will unmute. Anybody that wants to ask question. So,
hello, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yes.
My name is Okonkwo.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened very well when you were talking about the data analyst. If you're trying to solve problems, you should be able to take cognizance of some informations,
yeah,
so that you can have a very accurate prediction or so. So, but while you were talking, you made mention about the case of the projection of 6,000 gigawatt for KJ Electric, and at the end we are not able to meet up to that projection.
Yes.
So my concern now is, as a data analyst, when you talk about a risk, because I feel the TCN issue falls under risk.
Yes.
So as a data analyst, if you're making decision plans and all, how do you factor risks into your, into your analysis? Are these
Good.
things values that you can measure?
Okay.
Because I don't know, can you expatiate on that? Because if you don't factor in risk, I don't know, those, or you at times don't take those into consideration before you try analyzing your data.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now, okay. So I extend that. I will extend that to you. Now, factoring risk into your analytics and your prediction is very important, which is why sometimes you have some assumption clearly stated, and I will say if all things being equal sometimes. So let me tell you how you factor it. Remember, I'm sure that you were taught what quantitative data is and qualitative, right? Now, on quantitative, you already gotten the numbers. The number says, yes, you can do it. Qualitative is saying to you, there are happenings in between, around, that could impact on your numbers. You should be able to factor that into your consideration. So let me take for an instance now. A feeder has a capacity, right? It's 5 megawatts capacity, right? But if you are doing analysis, will you do analysis based on that 5 megawatts? No, you're going to, numbers will tell you that, of course, it's 5 megawatts, just multiply it by the number of time and days, it will give you the energy. But you can't do that straight up. There are other factors that are qualitative you need to consider, that feeder might not be able to even do 3.2 at the end of the day. If you don't add some of those risk and factors, you might exaggerate it and over predict, which is why I mentioned earlier that you have to factor in qualitative factors that will impact on your number. That is where risk and uncertainty comes in, because you are now saying plus or minus. If this thing happens, it's just going to affect 40%, but we are sure of 60%. We are sure that conveying conscience will do 60%, but because of this and that, 40% is not possible, because I can tell you that once in a while, TCN is going to come here and do maintenance, and that maintenance takes 4 days. Have you multiplied that 4 days times the hour times the load out of the energy target you set? Or you are just being overly optimistic? So I tell you why this 60-42 happened is because, of course, you preach optimism. You have to be optimistic at some level to also stretch your capacity to achieve stuff. It's not as though we don't know that TCN was going to happen. We knew, but we said to ourselves, it might not, because of how the country is. They might decide not to go further with it. It might just be like last year when they said it and they did not do it, right? So that is what could have happened. So what we did was turn a blind eye to that part and focus on the positive, which is that why we landed at 60-42. Because if you do the math, actually, we can achieve that 60-42 based on the number of feeders we have, based on the capacity we have, based on the project we have initiated for this year. But somehow we are not doing that. And you as internals, you can tell why. You can now, sometimes you do, okay, so let me give you a constraint that you might even have when you're even putting this risk and stuff. When you as an analyst talk about risk and uncertainty, and you're infusing it or putting it in your data analysis, your boss might tell you that, no, why are you adding this? How are you sure that it will happen? You're saying, no, ABC is correct, but D and E, I'm looking at it that this thing will impact it. But because you are just a data analyst, right? Remember, I told you that everybody has a level. You can only suggest, but you have to be optimistic and be aligned to your gas objective, which is 60-42, right? So at the same time, that way, that risk of TC and another, you have it, it will happen, but you didn't factor it in your number, because of course you want to be optimistic as possible. But if you have to take your decision, just imagine you are now the boss, you make the decisions, you can influence properly. You will add that factor and say, no, based on this TCM, based on fault, based on material not being available, based on A, B, C, D, I might not be able to do 5 megawatts per. I'll be doing maybe 2.5. Let me back out all those ones. So your prediction will even be a bit moderate, such that sometimes you might even exceed it. If you exceed it, it's a fantastic job. You did well. If you meet it on the dot, fantastic. Your prediction is good. If the variance is just maybe 2%, 1%, it's still okay because you did a good job. But when it's wide and the variance is so much, you didn't do a good job. even though you know that it will happen, but you're just trying to be optimistic as possible. You didn't do a good job because it shouldn't be, the variance shouldn't be so much, right? So the risk part has to be factored in, because as you're doing analysis, the qualitative part is very important. You have to factor those qualitative. You have to, that, which is why you sit down after you check patterns. Patterns will even show you where something like that has happened in the past and how much it took away. So you take that same quantum amount and apply in your present, because it might affect to that extent. So those are the risks you need to pick from different perspectives and put it towards. So when you're doing your conclusion, as per this later, you will say, I believe we can do 60-42. However, A, B, C, D might affect us. We might not do 60-42, we might do 4,200, because if you take out this A, B, C, D as a risk, then this is the number we end up at. So you should be able to give those two numbers just in case. But your question is valid. You must consider risk, and this is how to actually note the risk.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm sure other people also picked some things from this my description, but that's basically it. But you, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my question now is that as a data person, you have been able to data to do some things, and you have been able to, out of the data, you have been able to identify problems.
Yeah.
And you are not making a solution, you are not recommending a solution to the stakeholders.
Yes.
And that happens that the stakeholders are seeing like something too big for them to do at that point in time.
Yes.
And also, we have seen that if it's being addressed, it will solve some problem that the firm is having, but they are not heeding to it.
Yes.
And now, maybe they are not heeding to it, or maybe they now later heed to it. And it happens that the solution that you are recommending is not throwing up more problem to the organization.
Yes.
What will happen to you as a data analyst?
So no, as a data analyst, one thing I would always advise any data analyst, make it clear from the beginning. These are the dangers. This is what we can do. All things being equal, which is why even economists will tell you, if all things being equal, A, B, C will happen. But because we have this consideration, B, C, D, E might not happen. Now you have provided a solution as at that time to stop that, right? So that solution you have, and they say, oh no, we don't want to do that. We are trying to be optimistic here. We have to push ourselves. We have to stretch. Of course, you have to be optimistic, stretch, but keep that aside. So what happens is in the middle of the whole thing, and if you are not achieving that prediction or that target you set based on your data, as a data analyst, your solution should be as agile as possible. And that's another thing I want you guys to also study after here. Go and study agile. Agile is the ability to respond to change as fast as possible. You tweak your solution immediately because you now see what is coming up and use that, because now they will hear you, they will understand what you said earlier, that ABC will happen. So it's left for you to now come up with a smarter solution to wage that problem. So which is what we are also doing now presently. You can see that solutions have been coming to wage this, but these are the things we would have proactively done. It's not as if it wasn't seen before, but of course, we are trying to be optimistic. But because you have that solution put place somewhere, you can now start implementing them one after the other, and even tweaking some of them to suit into what is now happening. Don't allow that your past solution, the solution that you provided earlier was based on the fact that you feel, okay, that this risk might happen and this is a solution to this risk to mitigate it. This other risk might happen and this is a solution to mitigate it. But now it didn't even happen the way you predicted it. It's now taking another turn. So you should be agile in making sure you respond to it immediately in a very proactive manner. And that is where even you as a time analyst is so important, because that's where they will be dragging you. Come and do this model, come and do that, come and enable this, come and bring this number that will show us that if we apply this ABC, it will work. So as an analyst, you are, how do I put you? You are this kind of person that you are indispensable. At the same time, you face a lot of pressure from every angle. So anything you say or do at a time, everybody hold it against you. The blame might come down to your own part. So you have to find a way of proactively doing stuff, especially when you are in a position where you can directly influence it through maybe your line manager and all. So you should be able to come up with, you should be agile in all you do in terms of solution and recommendation.
Hello, Mr. Soli.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I have another question for you.
Right.
Okay, sir. My question is, the topic here is about data analysis in reference to decision making.
Yes.
So my question is, you as a data analyst and you have been in the system for long, if you are well informed, you should know far better than us.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, can you give us a live scenario of decisions that you've taken, that you've done, that has really helped you or have given a positive impact to whether one organization or whether I really like scenarios so that we can easily understand this thing in depth.
In depth,
It doesn't be like we are just getting the surface and all that. So let it be like we are getting a practical view of what you're teaching.
Okay, so now I've given a lot of illustration how this is. That means you didn't pay attention of when I was talking about Magodo. Were you listening when I was talking about Magodo? Now I've given scenarios of how to take this decision, and a lot of decisions we have even taken in the company. Right from even when we joined and up to today, there are a lot of things we've done using data. I can't even count. I don't know where to start from. A lot of these new policies that you see, all these new processes that you see, all these changes. I don't know how long you've been in this system, but ask anybody that was in this system since 2016, it would tell you how progressive Ikeja Electric has been from that 2016 till date. How we've changed and moved forward. It wasn't just suggestion, it was based on numbers. And there's a group of data analysts that were brought together. They were coming out with commercial strategies. Stop doing change, making changes. And I don't even know where to start from. Is it from metering? Is it from even theft? I don't know where. I can't even put it into perspective, into one bucket. But let me give you the latest so that you understand. Now, the latest is okay. Let me give you the one you can even relate to. Ever since we started doing NPR in Ikeja Electric, right, and measuring people, a lot of improvement has happened, even for people to communicate better, people to stand in front of to perform at their respective distance. One of the reasons why some of us, not because we are so good, but one of the reasons why some of us today put effort in making sure that we achieve our targets and goals, because we are being measured and called upon to come and assess performance. And the thought of that alone put pressure on us to do that, right? That's one side. Now, metering, the kind of metering we are doing today, right? You see that it's based on decision, it's based on data. We've looked at where we need it. There is not everybody that should be metered. In as much as we are saying it, not everybody. There's some people that shouldn't even be metered. We made mistake in the first time to meter some customers. We should have started some places. We didn't look at the data. We didn't look at the number. We didn't look at the details where these places are located. We would have metered some. It would have been a need-based metering process. But now we've taken that. We've given that recommendation. That's what we are doing now, to make sure that you meter according to the need, meter to where you want to solve solution, where you want to stop theft, where you want to stop complaints from customers saying that they're being overbilled. There are a lot of changes that has happened in the metering side, in the commercial angle, in the technical too. I don't know if anybody's in technical here. It will tell you that there's a lot of changes that have happened in terms of how they do maintenance now, how they resolve faults now, how we even got to a set that we can, our assets can even do up to give 24 hours or 22 hours at a stretch. Before, we couldn't do that. No maintenance this thing process, no tracking, nobody tracks anything, right? But there are a lot of recommendations that has happened today in Ikeja Electric. I don't know how many years you've been here, but you notice that we have grown. It's not just strategy, it's the numbers that drive that strategy that you see. It's what the number tells us that we apply today. So we really improved. And if you notice, even we've gotten an award for the most improved disco. Take a look around and go to other discos and see what they are doing. You will be shocked at how far we've gone at Ikeja Electric. We've gone far. It's not because we are the richest. We've gone far in terms of ideas, in terms of the kind of solutions to what others are coming here to come and learn. They're telling us that, please come and tell us what you did in the KJ. How did you people arrive at this state? Even we have our own battle right now, but they envy us in such a way that they want to know what we are doing. Who are those guys? Who are those data people? How do you organize your data that you can even do? We don't even have a 100% data, organized data. But what we have today, I can tell you, we are using to do a lot of things. Forget this TCNT that is happening now that is draining our revenue. By now, we should have been doing 20 billion a month. That is the projection. We would have been doing 20 billion a month. Yes, we're not willing the energy we expected because they are uncontrollable things. This one is because we don't have control over those factors. If we had control, I'm telling you, we would have done beyond, but because the energy we have sparked with even among staff and everything. When we work in the KJL, to go to another school, other schools don't work like that. And there's passion attached to it. Do you think it happened overnight? It didn't happen overnight. It was deliberate, using data, people that are in data. Before we even have strategy department, we have data analysts, business analysts who come together, who made sure that even the BMs, the UTMs, they are now in charge of their data. Before they make any decision, they will go and look at the numbers. They don't just make decisions anyhow. They look at numbers and say, okay, this is what this is telling me. Let me do it this way. That's what we've been able to achieve. Even if for that one alone, you notice that the progression is brilliant. Look at our do you know there was one time when we did 3 billion and we are jumping up, shouting, celebrating that this is our highest collection. But now we're talking about 10 billion. Are we talking about 11 billion? Did we ever imagine that we would do that? How many customers have we brought into the system? We never imagined that before. So we are a most progressive disco, and that is because we started looking at data and making decisions based on what is happening. It's not but our head, because people have been using their head since before 2015. Nothing happened. They were collecting 1.5 billion a month. But now we are doing 11. So I can tell you there are a lot of decisions that have been taken based on data that is having impact. And I'm sure most people will confirm with me. If you confirm with me, please say yes on this chart. If the progress is not what it is. Confirm. You see that a lot of people who have been here for past 4 or 5 years will tell you that yes, we have actually done well as a business in terms of achievement. So don't look at it from this where you are. We have made so much. Forget that. Oh, you think that call if you have a friend in Benin or Enugu, call them. Even the only people that are even matching us a bit is Eko, and they've not even gotten there yet. So we've done a lot of things. So forget there are a lot of things data has helped us to do today. Even you as a staff picking interest in these data schools. Do you know that we've not even done this thing before? For you to even pick interest in this data, that it will tell you how far that you cannot do without data if you are working in the KJ Electric today. Do you think
yeah?
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, based on what you just said, data. Now, how can we, as a data person now that you are, how can you use data to based on the fact that we are running a business that regulators are monitoring very well.
Yes.
And now you know that you are based on your data, you have done your analysis and you have been able to come up with your recommendations. That recommendations is not auguring well with that of the regulators.
Yes.
Now, as a business, would you want to say that you are doing a good work as a data analyst, since what you are recommending is not working in line with the regulator, or what the regulators are bringing up is not working in line with what you yourself have?
Okay.
You yourself you are recommending. Take for example.
Yes.
For example, a PPM customer that is using, he has been vending, and all of a sudden the meter got burned.
Yes.
According to the regulator, the customer should be based on his normal average vending, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Now, if you are to using this thing very well, analyze it very well, you see, for a customer meter to get burned, there must be something that must have been added to the customer's house.
Yes.
So therefore, the load should not be the same.
Yeah.
And as such, we're using the recommended average billing, vending to bill the customer will not favor the business as well. So in this situation now, the business will be losing.
Yes.
So you as an analyst, what can you do to see that your work match with that of the regulator?
Okay, fantastic question. Okay, so now, as a data analyst, right? You're an influencer, right? You're just trying to influence as much as you can, because there are different levels of influence that you have. Now, for our particular industry, which is very peculiar in a way that half of our decisions are based on external regulatory laws, right? Now, we don't have control over those laws. The only thing we have been doing as a company, even today, is that we are trying to justify whatever it is that we are doing to making sure that we to negotiate with them and tell them why ABC is happening. Most of the law. Okay, so let me tell you one thing that we've done and we keep doing. Some of the things that NEC picked today is actually they started it off from Ikeja Electric. Ikeja Electric gave them some of the ideas you see today that is happening, and even though some of them they still are stubborn to implement it. But we are the ones that gave them this idea. That's what they are applying across board. This SBT that you are seeing, it was because the KJ Electric started bilateral and they felt, oh, this is even possible. KJ Electric has done it. The other fiscals should do it and they now fix it on their own. It's because there are some things that they started doing because we started it. Now, the only handicap, and I know that is what you're referring to, is some of these policies that are still hard on us. Those ones, we have limited choices. We might not be able to do anything as data analysts because we can have it internally to say this is what we can do. We can only use that solution we come up to sit down in a meeting with them to explain to them to say, oh God, this thing will not work. I'm telling you that these guys that meters that bond is because he added load. We cannot be billing him the same time. We are going to show you the losses we are incurring because this guy, we are not billing this guy appropriately. We are going to distill the number. So I tell you that we cannot follow this vending pattern. Are you aware that this vending self is doing? He's been stealing our energy all this while. And now you want us to build that person based on, we can only negotiate on that ground. And the guy and the regulator will say, okay, to solve this issue, you know what, go and install new meter for this guy. And you are struggling with getting the money to buy meter to install for this guy and check the guy. We cannot even cover up everything because we don't have enough software that will monitor it. But I tell you, you can do your best as a data analyst to provide a suggestion, a solution, but because you have a power that be in terms of regulators who are so independent that they will enforce certain things to you on you as a company and all, you might not have choices, but you have those suggestions. There's nothing you can probably do at that point. That is why everybody is seeking for 100% autonomy, 100% autonomy. So we can be like, even telco now, their own regulations too. It's not as bad as this one. They have NCC, right, that regulates them, but it's not as bad as what we have in power. Power is they're more emotional about power. So sometimes some of those policies impact us. We probably might not do a lot, which is the frustration data analysts have. This is the frustration strategists have. That's one of our frustration. The fact that we are limited. We have made a decision, we influence to a certain level, but there are some level that we probably might not penetrate. We can only use persuasive skill and bring justifications using data to justify what we are saying before it might even be heard. This capping that you see, it would have been worse than this than what we are doing today. But it's KJ Electric that now suggested to them, okay, so if you want to do capping, okay, use this method, use this methodology to do it. Don't use this your own. Your own it can't work for us. We might not be able to make one cover from this thing. There are certain levels we've influenced. Today, I can tell you, if you call anybody, it's Ikeja. They're using Ikeja as a sample stone. Most of the things they do today, we suggested it to them in the meeting. So some other discos will come and they will open their mouth like this. They're like, wow, we've gone far for us to know all these things. And that's what they will now use to implement. We can influence as much, but we are not there yet. We are getting there. Don't worry. They will see some things too that would do, but we keep pushing as data person to push and influence. Have your evidence at hand because they will still come back to you to ask for that thing. But put out your case, put out your suggestion. Let it be heard that you actually suggested ABC. If it's not taken, okay, it's left for the management, because at some level you might not be able to influence at a particular level, which is like the regulators, they might not be able to influence them to a point. But you have to put it out there so they know. So even if the shareholders or the investors are looking at, they'll be like, these guys are telling you they are not making money because of these thing laws you are putting across. Why can't you change it? Why can't you change some of these things? And that way, maybe people from outside, even our customers, will help us to push for it and lobby it out. That's the part, but there's a limit to, yes, to even influencing that decision. But we are trying to an extent today, as I talk to you. There are some things we are doing now that I'm even proud of Ikeja Electric. We are not there yet, too. You still have a point. That policy, especially that vending one, and even criminalizing all these people that are stealing our energy. Nigerian government could make a decision on that, but they've not done it. In abroad, where I live, so in fact, abroad, right, in London, you cannot, once you do it, you go to jail. You want from home, you get a letter that you are stealing. You are completely, so nobody tries it. Even we Nigerians, when we go there, you will not know that we can obey laws. Nobody tries it. We are the most, in short, Nigerians abroad are the most, how do I put it? We obey law more than the people that own the law. But when we come back here, because of the nature of our district, we just do anyhow and steal as much because there's no consequences to it, and we do a lot of that. And this government, the people that do this regulation, do not still put in laws in check to criminalize these people. That's why all these things are happening. But we'll keep trying. But do your part as a data person. Do your part. Bring your suggestion. Let them see it. Then leave the rest. I don't know if you get my answer.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, just do your part. Put out all you have to do there. All your recommendation, put it out there. Let it be heard. Let it be out there. Then we'll come back to you someday and say, let's even see that model you built that day. It seems it's working. That's how some of these neck people are doing, and they will come to us. You see them coming to KJL to come and pick an idea. They've changed now. They've said our customer service is the best. Now they want to implement it in the other disco by force, by fire, because they saw what we've done. That's how we influence somehow. So we have to do our own part. All right. So I hope we enjoyed this class. This is my £1 experience that I have.
Mr. Sonny, I have a question, sir.
Oh, you have a question? Okay. Thought we are done.
Okay, my name is Martins Okonji.
Okay, Martin.
So as a data analyst, basically you work with data.
Yeah.
And as an analyst, you don't generate this data yourself.
Okay.
You source this data externally, both directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
So the question is, some of these data are being tampered with at the point of population.
Yes.
Yes, at the point of mining. So maybe the officers or people that are custodians of generating this data, due to one or two reasons, they influence the data.
Yeah.
They tinker with it, both the numbers and the other variables.
Yeah.
So as a data analyst, how do you guard against this? Because if you work with such data, definitely your predictions, all of your analysis are going to be flawed. Your predictions are not going to turn out the way you projected. And someone might start seeing you as not being very competent. So how do you guard against data being influenced? And how do you detect it from your own end?
Yes, brilliant question. Yes, that's a challenge, which is why it's very good to have software and make independent source of data in a company as independent as possible. Why you are saying this is because we are working in a KJL. So let me give you an instance of me working in telco. There is nothing that is out in anywhere. I don't collect data from anybody. Everything is connected into every transaction customer have, or your SIM card. I don't need to see anything you do on that SIM direct. Nobody even adds or minus anything for me. I get it on the system. It comes directly on that platform. I pick it and analyze from there. It gives me direct answer. Even when I was in banking, the same thing. But power is still struggling with that. You can imagine me collecting fault log from somebody from the field. Of course, the person will manipulate that, tell me clear the fault in 30 seconds. Is it possible? Or 20 seconds. Fault that I know that before you even couple the break and finish, it will take 5 hours. You're telling me this in 30 minutes, right? That's one of the issues of us because we don't have a system yet, like SCADA, that would also get that information for me and tell me when this fault went out and when it came back on. I'll be able to make my decision purely on that. But because I still depend on this human beings to, I still have that challenge up to today. We are correcting it though. We are working towards it. We recommended so many things to be done to make sure that our data is as independent as possible. Your data source should be independent. All these numbers that we shouldn't be getting from anywhere. When customer call into the system, I should know my customers, what they complained, when that issue was raised, and when it was resolved. And I should be able to take it from CRM and work. I don't need any customer care person to plot any report for me. I need to pick it directly from that source. That's why it is very important. But because we don't have that now, what can you do to actually influence or correct it? As a data person, if you are used to analyzing data, you will notice when there are abnormalities. You might not detect all, but you might notice at some point where the abnormality, you will know that something is wrong and you will question that data. When you question that data, right, you will realize that that data has been manipulated or there's something wrong with the data, either knowingly or unknowingly, but something is wrong. So I'll give you an instance. As I'm doing technical reports now, and you are sending me fault log. I wasn't there when you cleared the photo, but I would tell you whether it's true or false, that time is right. So you tell me that, oh, a breaker went out and something went bad. I know when you requested for material. I know how long it took that you requested for material. And by the time you fix it, I know this is taking over 2 days, 48 hours. But you now told me that, okay, you cleared it in 2 hours. That's a flag. I will filter that already and send back to you that something is definitely wrong. You either give me the exact time or I will give you my time myself based on all these things that I've noted. So as a data person, you should be able to flag some of them. You might not be able to flag all, but you will see it. And when the numbers are not giving you something, because you will see when a number pattern is off, something is off somewhere, you will start to track back to see where you are omission, which is why when you are working and analyzing data, you will see there are some red flags that will be showing, some negatives, some numbers that won't be accurate. There are some, you will look at it from your own perspective that this is not right. There's something wrong with this number. I have to go back to my source and validate it. So you start doing data validation again. Start checking all your source and other, especially the one that has human. That's why even in commercial, at least to an extent, I don't need to. I just go and plug into the account and pick all the collection. I know what the customer paid. Nobody needs to tell me that. But there's some parts you still need human to compile it. You still need somebody in the field or someone else here to compile that report and give to you, which is not supposed to be. But it's work in progress, like I said. But the tradition is it should be a software-based, connected direct to the source, such that you'll be able to filter, pull the data yourself, and do your analysis as a data analyst. But for now, all you need to do is manually filter, check. You will see these inconsistencies. Once you see these inconsistencies, flag them, send it back to the person, or check that your source again to see what happened. That's the solution for now, to check your inconsistency as you're analyzing, to see what went wrong. And sometimes you know that based on the numbers you've been working on before, this is what it's supposed to be. All of a sudden, you now have a tweak. Go back to your source again and check those inconsistencies. Validate your data properly before implementing, especially the ones that has human intervention. But the ones that have system and it came in directly to your platform, then use that one. That one might be almost 99% accurate. Right. I don't know if I answered that.
Yes, you did. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. So we've spent how many hours now? 2 hours. Right. Okay. So I think this is it. But for further questions and all that, you can always reach out to L&D to contact me if you want me on anything, or maybe if you can come directly anytime, any day. But there are a lot of okay, someone asked what are the data analysis limitations. There's a lot of limitation. There are a lot. So what you can do is basically to figure out what works. And because so like I told you, I told you that data analysis, you shouldn't have a problem. You should figure it out. That's what your construction should be like. You're not seeing anything as a problem. You are seeing it as you see it as a challenge, you find a solution to it. There are a lot of limitations, but what you need to do is to re-engineer your mindset and say, I will look for a solution that will provide for this particular thing. That's how you are seeing. Nobody cares whether it's a disable, but you know that you're not seeing it as a problem, it's as a challenge, mini challenge, but you work towards providing a solution to it. That's basically what it is. So there are a lot of limitations. You can't even, it depends on where you are, even what type of data you even analyze, which departments you are in, which industry. They have different industry with different challenges, with different problems. And the first people that are hit with that is data people, because they will struggle to extract and mine and even convert the data to a reasonable data or something. To even clean the data is a problem. So there are a lot of things that are involved. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope that going forward, you also expand your knowledge on this and try to seek other knowledge on data professional. There are a lot more. It's wild. It's very broad, actually. Yeah.
Hi, Sunny.
Yes.
Thank you. Network.
Oh, is it my network? Something happened.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
It's mine.
Okay, it's yours.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much, and do you have a good? Or you want me to say something now?
No. I wasn't hearing you. I think it was my network. Okay. All right. So you've really given us enough of your time today. Thank you so much for such a detailed training. I'm sure you accommodated almost most of our questions. A lot of people were asking questions and they wanted clarity. So thank you. I'm sure we all have better understanding of business data analytics and how it also joins to decision making, not just practicalizing Power BI and Excel, but how we can align it to the business decision making and all of that. Thank you, everyone. So thank you so much for your time. We look forward to having such an impactful presentation some other time. Olalere is saying thank you for an impactful and detailed session. So for other questions, like he has said, if you have any more questions, you can either send it to L&D, or you can see him or ask him any other questions or whatever you need clarity on. All right, thank you so much, Sunny. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, so I'll be dropping. All right, thank you. All right, bye. So I'll be dropping the evaluation form, the link on the chat box. So please let us, before we log out from today's session, let us ensure we fill it, and it also serves as attendance. Paul is saying such an interesting class. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Iria. All right, so I just dropped it in the chat box. Please let us fill the forms before we log out. It also stands as attendance for today's class. All right. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining. All right, enjoy the rest of your day.